All right, it's time for our review, and we are on page 225, the fluency check. Work with a partner, point to a clue, read the clue, look below the clues to find a match, write the clue in the box above the match, find a match for every clue. Obviously, if you don't have a partner to work with, you're working by yourself. Let's look at clue A. The product is 240. So we're going to be looking for something that is 240. Can't be the first one. We know that that's two odd numbers coming together. And if we do 500 times 600, we know that's 300. So it can't be that one. 10 times 10 is 100. You could write that in right there. Can't see all these. So you can put the 100 in to get some answers already going as you're going through here. 42 times 11, I know when I multiply 2 times 1, I'm going to have a 2 in the ones place, so it can't be A. 20 times 12, well, I know 12 times 2 is 24, and yeah, that's our A. So you're going to go through and solve your problems. You can go through first and see if you can do any of these in your head, like 10 times 10. And then you can also look for that little trick of looking for the digit in the ones place value. If I go through and do 3 times 1 is 3, 7 times 5 is 35, 3 times 0 is 0, 9 times 1 is 9, 6 times 5 is 30. We already said this one was 240. This is going to have a 2 in the ones place, and that's 100. That could help you with a couple problems, like I can see D, because that's the only one that has a 5 in the ones place. So you can use some strategies to help you solve these without having to actually solve every single problem. And I know you learn a lot of those tricks in First in Math if you've done your VIFs. So you're going to go through your fluency, check that, use a calculator to check your work. Then you're going to do vocabulary review, writing always, sometimes, or never in the responses. Multiplying a decimal by 10 to the fourth shifts the decimal point 4 places to the right. And when you do 10 to the fourth, it's always going to go to the right. And number 2, the product of a whole number and a decimal point is a whole number. Sometimes. So let's take a look. The product of a whole number, like 50, and a decimal point, 0.10. When would it not be a whole number? Well, if you have 1 times 0.5, you're going to have 0.5. So it's not always going to be a whole number, but sometimes. Number 3, a product of two decimal numbers is less than 1 is greater than either factor. Well, that'll never be the case. If you have something less than 1 times something less than 1, you're never going to get anything bigger than 1. And number 4, the product of a number multiplied by 1/10 is 10 times as much as multiplying the same number by 1/100th. And that is always the case. Cross out the numbers that are not powers of 10. Well, we've got this is a power of 10. 10 is a power of 10. This is a power of 10. And this is a power of 10. I didn't cross these two guys out because they are not powers of 10. They have powers of 10 in them, but they're not themselves a power of 10. That means that you would have a 1 and a bunch of zeros, or a decimal and a bunch of zeros and a 1. So let's move on. Draw a line from each column draw a line from each number in column A to the same value in column B. So we can solve these. So we knew multiplying by 1,000 moves the decimal 3 places. So I would be moving it once and then annexing 2 zeros. So I would have 7.2 times 10 to the third. I don't see 7,200, but I see 7.2 times 10 to the third. And remember, 10 to the third is 1,000. So those two are equal to each other. 38 hundredths times 10 to the fourth. I'm going to move the decimal 4 places. 1, 2, annex 2 zeros. 4. So we got right there. 420 times 3 hundredths, or sorry, 240 times 3 hundredths, 240, I can just do it over here. So I know I'm going to have 720, and I have 2 digits in decimal place value in the problem. So I'm going to have 2 in the answer. And 720 and 7.2 are equivalent. Oops, got my line in the wrong spot there. Sorry, guys. There we go. All right, 3.8 times 0.1. So 0.1 is a power of 10, and it's going to tell me to move the decimal to the left one place. So we have 0.38, and the last one, 8 hundredths times 9 tenths. 8 times 9 is 72, and I know because my factors have 3 decimal place values, I'm going to have 3 in my answer. So there we go. There's our matching. The digits in the products of 48 hundredths and a decimal number between 350 and 400 are 1, 8, 2, 1, 3, 6. Explain how to correctly place the decimal point in the product. So we can use compatible numbers to help us do this one, and that might help you out. And we can figure out that 48 times, if we take a look at what's here, so 0.48 is close to 0.5, which is about a half. So a half of 350 or a half of 400, what's a half of 400? You could probably do that in your head. It's going to be 200. That tells us our decimal is going to go after the 2, because 182 is close to 200. So that might be a little tricky for some of you, but we are using compatible numbers, mental math, and our number sense to help us place the decimal in the right place. Okay? If you're not getting that yet, I promise your brain will get it down the road one day. Realize, oh my gosh, how did I not know how to do that? Okay, and then our reteaching. Set A, which goes with pages 165 and 170, 171 and 176. So that goes with 2 lessons, 4.1 and 4.2. Use the patterns in this table to find the answer. Remember, you can use rounding or compatible numbers. So as we're going through here on these first problems, you're just basically moving the decimal. So 10 times 4, you're moving the decimal one place value. So we wind up, oops, got to get the right thing, 45. For number 2, 10 to the third power, we're moving the decimal 3 place values. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to have to annex a 0. 3, 6, 7, 0. The decimal would go after the 0, because remember we moved it 1, 2, annex to 0, 3 places. 100 times 4.5, we move the decimal 2 places. We'll have to annex 1 0 for that, because when I move the decimal, I need to put something in that place. And 8 thousandths times 10 to the second power. 10 to the second power equals 100. So I'm moving the decimal 2 places. So I'm going to wind up with a 0.8. And for the estimate each product, for this, I'm going to round or use compatible numbers. 99, I probably want to bring it to 100. So 0.38 times 100 is going to move my decimal 2 places. 38 would be a good answer. You could also round 0.38 to 0.4 and wind up with 40. Number 6, 8 times 56.7. I would probably do 8 times 60, which would be 48, is solving a simpler problem. And because 60 is a power of 10, I'm putting 1 0. And number 7, 11 times 4.89. I could do 11 times 5 is 55. You could also do 10 times 4.89 and get 48.9. That would even get you probably a little bit closer to the actual answer. You could do 10 times 5 and get 50. Remember, we're estimating. So you want to be as close to the actual answer as you can get. And 24 times 3 to the ninth power, you could do 25 times 4 equals 100. You could do 24 times 4 if you know what that equals, 96. As long as you get close to the actual answer. We're estimating to get close to the answer. All right. Moving on. Set B. Whoops. Come on, set B. We are doing the algorithm to count remember to count the decimal places in both factors before you place the decimal point in the product. So for this, we're going to go through and do each problem one by one. So number 1 in your notebook, 3.67 times 50. We're going to have 0 distributes. So I'm just going to shift my problem over. I'm going to have 0, 0, 0, 0. And but I can actually just shift my problem over and just start the distribution of the digit in the tens place. 5 times 7 is 35, carry the 3. 6 times 5 is 30 plus 3. And 5 times 3 is 15 plus 3. So we have 18350, 2 digits in decimal place value in the problem, 2 in the answer. Number 2, I know my answer is going to be around, because I have 5 times 5, my answer is going to be around 25. For number 1, I know my answer was going to be around 150, so that looks good. Remember to always check in with your estimation. So number 2, 5.86 times 5. 6 times 5 is 30. Carry the 3. 8 times 5 is 40 plus 3. 5 times 5 is 25 plus 4 is 29. 2 digits in decimal place value in the problem, 2 in the answer. My final answer is 29.3 or 29.30. Number 3, 9.67 times 14. 7 times 4 is 28. 6 times 4 is 24 plus 2, 26. 9 times 4 is 36 plus 2, 38. Now we're going to distribute the 1 times 7, 1 times 6, 1 times 9, add them together. Two digits in decimal place value in the problem, 2 in the answer, 135.38. Number 4, I'm running out of space here. 56.7 times 8. 8 times 7 is 56. 8 times 6 is 48 plus 5. And 8 times 5 is 40 plus 5 is 45. So let's see. And I have, it's a bad looking 3 there. I have 1 digit in decimal place value in the problem. I'm going to have 1 in the answer. Number 5, 11 times 0.06. I know I'm going to have 66. 2 digits in decimal place value in the problem, 2 in the answer. Number 6, 2.03 times 6. 6 times 3 is 18, carry the 1. 6 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 6 times 2 is 12. 2 digits in decimal place value in the problem, 2 in the answer. Number 7, that might run out of room here. 1.63 times 25, 15, 31, 8, and 6, 12, 3. Add that mess together, and I'm going to have a 5, a 7, 10, carry the 1, and a 4. Last problem. Boy, I squeaked that in there, didn't I? 5.62. You have notebook paper, spread your work out. 5 times 2 is 10, carry the 1. 5 times 3 is 30, plus 1 is 31. 25 plus 3, 28. 7 times 2 is 14, carry the 1. 7 times 6 is 42, plus 1 is 43, carry the 4. 7 times 5 is 35, plus 4, 39. Add them up. And number 8, 421.5 or 0.50. So that is our set B. Remember, use a notebook, do all your work, check your work with the calculator, practicing doing the algorithm. Remember, you're in 5th grade now. That's what we need you to learn to do. You need to learn to do this algorithm and put the decimal in the right place. If you still need to use your times table chart to help you out because you still don't know your math facts, you may use that. But remember, you're going to need to know your math facts. You're going up to middle school next year, and you got a little bit of time left, but you got to make sure you have those solid by time you head up to middle school. All right, and the VIFs on First in Math can definitely help you with that. All right, set C. Again, we're putting partial products and finding, you can use an area model. You can just do the multiplication. Set your paper up nice and neat. 1.3 times 0.4. 12, carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 2 digits of decimal place value in the problem, 2 in the answer. And if you're typing in Savvis, remember to put that 0 before the decimal point, or it will mark it wrong. Middle school teachers like to see that 0 too. 8 times 2 is 16. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. 8 times 5 is 40. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 4 is 29. 6, 1, 10, 3, and 2 digits in decimal place value in the problem, 2 in the answer. Number 3, 10.7 times 8.3. Remember, I can move them around, change the order of them, so when I multiply, I have the larger number of digits on the top. That's not necessarily the larger value, but the larger number of digits. 3 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 5. 3 times 1 is 3. 8 times 7, 56. 8 times 0 is, whoops, put my 5 in the wrong spot. 5, there we go. And then 8 times 1 is 8. And when I add all that together, I get 1, 11, 9, and let's see, what am I on? Oops, a little messy over here. Let me see what I got here. I can't see that one really well. I'm going to go back and do that one again. I fell off the page. Try that up here. 3. Try that again. 1, 0, 0.7 times 8.3. 7 times 3, put the 1 down, carry the 2. 3 times 0 is 0, plus 2. 3 times 1 is 3. 8 times 7 is 56. 8 times 0 is 0, plus 5. 8 times 1 is 8. Add them together. 1, 8, 8, 8. That looks a little bit better, a little neater looking, although my pen is not happy on this side of the page. And the decimal, 2 digits in decimal problem, in 2 digits in decimal place are in the problem, 2 in my answer. Number 4, 3.4 times 0.7. 7 times 4, 28. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 2, 23. So number 4, 2 digits in decimal place value in the problem, 2 in my answer. I'm going to erase over here. I am going to let you finish these on your own and check your work on a calculator, because the bell's going to ring any second. And I'm running out of time here. As you're checking your work, make sure you show all your work. Show all your work. You can use this to check your work. And then finishing up down at the bottom, remember 2 factors less than 1 are multiplied. Their product is less than either factor. So as we're finishing up down here, you should be able to do some of these in your head. 0.6 times 0.3, 6 times 3 is 18. 2 digits in decimal place value in the problem, 2 in the answer. 25 times 7, think of quarters, $1.75. 2 digits in decimal place value in the problem, 2 in the answer. 19 times 4, that might be trickier to do in your head, but 20 times 4 is 80, and we're just going to take 4 out, so we're going to wind up with 76. 3 digits in decimal place value in the problem, 3 in the answer. As I'm going down here, 1/10 times 8.2. Remember, when we multiply by 0.1, the decimal goes in the other direction. So we wind up with 0.82. Let's see. The rest of these we're going to actually have to figure out. 23 times 8. 23 times 8 is 184, and we have 3 digits in decimal place value. That'd be number 4. Number 6, 57 times 36. When you do out the math, you wind up with 2052, and we had 2 digits in decimal place value in the problem, 2 in the answer. For 7, do the math, check your work. And that's basically our review. So it's a lot of math computation. And for set E, again, for set E, we get to just put the decimal where it belongs. So let me go ahead here. Almost done. I'm having connective issues, as you can see here. That would be just my luck. I'll have to finish this because, here we are. Set E, the decimal is missing. So we're going to figure out where it goes. And 4 times 0.21. We know 4 times 21 is 84. There's 2 digits of decimal place value in the problem. There's going to be 2 in the answer. 4 times 4 times 6 is 24. So 4.5 times 6.2 is going to be near 24. So it's going to go there.
Good afternoon, Spring Garden. This is Mrs. Old.
And I tried to get it on the announcements. We'll finish this later.